Richard Eden recently surfaced a perspective that has been quietly circulating in certain corridors of power in the UK, one that suggests there exists a faction of influential figures, especially within the government, who are quietly maneuvering to orchestrate a return of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle into the royal fold. He terms it an establishment plot, and the very concept sparks incredulity. Why, one must ask, should anyone care whether Harry and Meghan reconcile with the monarchy? Yet there are influential people, who care, and the reasons behind it are, frankly, baffling. They claim it is a matter of inclusion, diversity, equity, DI, as they call it. Because Meghan is black, her mere presence in the royal family is treated as a symbolic victory, a kind of social credit. It is stunningly superficial and intellectually lazy. They believe that the optics alone, her skin color, her American celebrity background, her glamorous story, should suffice to mend ties with the monarchy and charm the British public. In essence, it is Project Thaw, an attempt to warm up the Duke and Duchess's frosty relations with both the royal family and the nation. The thinking behind this plot is almost laughably simplistic. If they make Harry and Meghan feel included, if they hand them the royal recognition, perhaps the relationship heals and the public cheers. Richard Eden suggests that King Charles has been quietly drawn into this initiative, guided by a set of establishment operatives behind the scenes. Among them are figures like David Lammy, the Justice Secretary, and Yvette Cooper, the Foreign Secretary, the latter of whom has long been vocal about her admiration for the Duke and Duchess and her desire to see Harry in a more prominent public role. Cooper, married to former cabinet minister Ed Balls, who now hosts Good Morning Britain, seems invested in the optics of Harry and Meghan as a bridge for modernizing the monarchy, particularly for DI purposes. The idea is that Meghan, as a mixed-race American actress, serves as a symbol of change, a way for the monarchy to appear progressive and inclusive. It is, however, a fundamentally misguided notion, built on the assumption that symbolic representation can substitute for character, competence, or genuine connection to the British people. The absurdity of this initiative becomes even clearer when one considers Meghan's motivations. Meghan Markle, by every credible account, has never demonstrated any particular attachment to Britain beyond her acquisition of a royal title. She is not interested in civic engagement, public duty, or fostering a relationship with the people. She is interested in validation, in prestige, and in the power that comes with recognition. Her primary focus is on status, not service. And Harry, for all his charm, intelligence, and privilege, has proven over the years to be susceptible to influence, to celebrity, and to the seduction of superficial engagement over meaningful duty. The monarchy and government figures involved in Project Thaw seem to believe that by extending a figurative olive branch, they can mend relationships and signal inclusivity. In reality, they are dangling a carrot that will neither satisfy nor heal. They are negotiating with individuals whose priorities diverge sharply from the institutions they are meant to represent. This effort, supposedly designed to bridge gaps, is riddled with contradictions and risks. One source indicates that a new risk assessment could result in taxpayer-funded protection being restored to Harry and his family. The justification? Harry and Meghan plan to spend more time in the UK, ostensibly to educate their children there. But even that rationale reveals the fragility of the plan. It is based not on necessity, not on service or contribution, but on optics, on the mere idea that presence equals approval. The public is expected to accept that these two, who have spent years criticizing and distancing themselves from Britain and the royal family, suddenly require a reversal of privileges and protections for reasons that border on ceremonial virtue signaling. The foundation of Project Thaw is not merit but optics, and optics alone cannot sustain a relationship with a monarchy, let alone with a nation historically skeptical of celebrity interventions in centuries-old traditions. In dissecting this phenomenon, it is impossible to ignore the fundamental flaw at its core, the reduction of complex individuals to simple symbols. Meghan is treated as a racial token, an emblem of progress, rather than a person with ambitions, flaws, and motives. DI, in this context, becomes a tool for tokenism, and the superficial embrace of representation risks alienating the very people it purports to engage. To celebrate someone solely for the color of their skin, without regard for character, integrity, or meaningful contribution, is itself a form of regression. It reinforces a hierarchy in which image outweighs substance, optics outweigh authenticity. The monarchy, the government, and the public are asked to suspend judgment on years of behavior, decisions, and character flaws simply because a strategic narrative has been constructed. The absurdity is compounded by the fact that the public is not blind. They notice inconsistencies, missteps, and performative gestures. And the stakes extend beyond optics. Harry's own behavior and choices have created a complex web of complications that make any potential return fraught with risk. He is widely viewed as impulsive, self-centered, and occasionally reckless, prone to decisions that amplify scrutiny rather than deflect it. His security demands are costly, his public statements often inflammatory, and his sense of entitlement appears unbounded. In one telling example, Harry publicly disclosed numbers of combat kills in Afghanistan in his memoir, which raises questions about security and accountability. The very same individuals advocating for his reinstatement as a royal presence are implicitly endorsing a man who has demonstrated a pattern of decisions that strain the very institution he wishes to rejoin. His actions, combined with Meghan's motivations, create a scenario in which any reconciliation risks being perceived as indulgent, imprudent, and politically tone-deaf. Moreover, Harry's longing for Britain is not matched by Meghan's. Sources suggest that Harry, despite the trappings of his California lifestyle, misses the familiarity, the structure, and perhaps even the sense of belonging the UK once provided. He longs for recognition and for the familial bonds he has sacrificed in pursuit of autonomy. Meghan, on the other hand, is portrayed as indifferent to the country itself, focused solely on status, titles, and personal branding. The tension between their desires, Harry's nostalgic longing and Meghan's strategic ambition, introduces a dynamic that renders any plan for reintegration inherently unstable. One can easily envision a scenario in which Harry is drawn back to Britain for the semblance of family and duty, while Meghan maneuvers to leverage the situation purely for prestige, creating a public spectacle with few tangible benefits for the monarchy or nation. Project Thaw also illustrates the dangers of mixing politics with symbolism in the royal sphere. Advocates within the government, particularly figures on the left who view Meghan as emblematic of modern diversity, risk alienating traditionalists and eroding confidence in the monarchy's apolitical stance. The idea that the Labour Party or individual ministers could manipulate royal dynamics for social optics introduces a precarious precedent. The monarchy becomes a vehicle for political symbolism rather than national unity. If public perception shifts, the backlash could be severe, empowering Republican movements, amplifying media scrutiny, and undermining decades of carefully curated royal goodwill. Every decision to welcome Harry and Meghan back, or even to signal openness, carries the weight of historical consequence, public opinion, and media spectacle, and the consequences of miscalculation are amplified by the couple's history of media engagement, litigation, and celebrity ventures. Harry's potential return is further complicated by practical considerations. Security costs alone are astronomical, and the justification for their restoration must be meticulously defensible to a skeptical public. Reports suggest that taxpayer funding would increase significantly to accommodate Harry's presence, his travel, and his personal protection. This scenario fuels narratives of entitlement, highlighting contrasts between Harry and Meghan and the rest of the royal family, particularly in light of austerity, public service, and national priorities. The optics are troubling. A prince who left the family and country in pursuit of personal ambition now demands reinstatement and privileges, while the nation bears the cost. Meanwhile, the media, public commentators, and royal insiders are acutely aware of the disparity between Harry and Meghan's ambitions and their contributions. Harry is often depicted as a figure pursuing validation, leveraging nostalgia, and seeking identity affirmation through royal association. Meghan is perceived as primarily pursuing leverage, status, and branding opportunities. This asymmetry in motivation ensures that any reconciliation cannot be straightforward. The monarchy would gain little in terms of public service, civic engagement, or tangible contribution. Instead, It risks further entanglement in media narratives, international scrutiny, and public debate over privilege, entitlement, and performance. Even within the family, opinions are divided. King Charles faces an unenviable dilemma: reconcile with a son who desires approval and presence, yet must navigate the unpredictable and often self-serving tendencies of Meghan. Charles must weigh the cost to the institution against the personal desire for familial connection. Public sentiment, historical precedent, and media pressure all intersect here, creating a scenario in which every decision carries high stakes. Failure to act decisively risks both institutional credibility and generational legacy, while misguided accommodation risks emboldening behaviors that undermine the monarchy's stability. In this complex web, the establishment's efforts to restore Harry and Meghan's presence appear increasingly quixotic. They operate on assumptions about optics, diversity, and symbolism that fail to account for human complexity, historical weight, and institutional necessity. Harry's longing for recognition and Meghan's pursuit of prestige intersect with political ambition and media spectacle, producing a volatile mix that threatens both public perception and royal credibility. Every day, this tension escalates as insiders, commentators, and the public speculate on motives, alliances, and outcomes. The narrative is rich with drama, uncertainty, and high stakes, and each development carries the potential to reshape the monarchy's future in ways that are unpredictable and potentially irreversible. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, Harry and Meghan's lives in California paint a picture of glittering ambition and mounting frustration, a Hollywood dream slowly crumbling under its own weight. Netflix, once seen as the golden ticket to celebrity reinvention, has quietly pulled back, leaving the couple grappling with a stark reality. Fame and royal titles cannot substitute for talent, relevance, or audience connection. Meghan's Christmas special, designed to showcase her warmth, creativity, and mom energy, instead landed with the subtle grace of a corporate memo disguised as festive cheer. Viewers noticed immediately the absence of her children, the stiffness in her gestures, the carefully curated backdrop, all screamed performance over authenticity. And in a moment that would become iconic for all the wrong reasons, a kiss captured in the trailer between Meghan and Harry felt forced, awkward, and emblematic of the larger issue. They were coasting on titles, celebrity, and symbolism rather than skill, connection, or substance. Netflix executives, insiders say, knew exactly what they were showing. That kiss was the signature shot, the final note before quietly terminating their mega deal. The moral of the story was clear. Hollywood's appetite for royal drama has limits, and when the spectacle outweighs the story, even fame itself cannot save you. Harry's Hollywood experience is, if anything, more revealing of his trajectory than Meghan's. Once a soldier, a prince with a purpose, he now navigates a world of pay-to-play appearances, speaking engagements, and brand partnerships that fail to match the gravitas of his royal lineage. Canadian housing conferences, keynote speeches to real estate groups, and media tours are framed as responsibility and advocacy, yet insiders describe them as exercises in survival, financial, emotional, and reputational. Every stage he steps onto feels like a mirror reflecting missed opportunities, underpreparedness, and the weight of ambition unmoored from expertise. Meanwhile, the public notices, online discourse explodes with commentary, and Harry's image as a distracted prince solidifies. His celebrity is ephemeral, tethered to titles and history rather than accomplishment, a fragile construct that cannot survive scrutiny indefinitely. Amidst this backdrop, Meghan's strategic pivot into branding, motherhood aesthetics, and lifestyle content reveals both ingenuity and desperation. She has transformed herself into a curated image of maternal perfection, holiday warmth, and entrepreneurial creativity, but critics argue that it is all facade. Photographs of her children, carefully orchestrated sets, and social media storytelling present a narrative of domestic harmony and nurturing expertise, yet the public perceives the gap between performance and reality. Reports emerge of prolonged absences, delegation of childcare, and relentless travel, painting a portrait of branding over living, image over experience. The juxtaposition between the Pinterest-perfect mother and the private reality grows sharper, and every new launch, every new project, only intensifies scrutiny. Meghan's ambition is clear. She wants recognition, influence, and validation, not simply as a parent, but as a figure whose reach can reshape markets, media, and cultural perception. Contrast this with the grounded, purposeful presence of Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, whose public work reflects authenticity, stability, and connection. Catherine appears at forums, engages in education and social projects, and is consistently recognized for her strategic, thoughtful approach. Her speeches resonate not because they are performative, but because they are informed by genuine involvement, lived experience, and public trust. The contrast is stark. Catherine represents influence built on substance. Meghan projects influence built on image. Harry, caught between these worlds, seems increasingly lost, drawn to the nostalgia of a past life in Britain while tethered to the performative, media-centric present in Hollywood. Adding further tension is the political maneuvering in the UK. Figures in the government, particularly on the left, are invested in the optics of reconciliation with Harry and Meghan, yet their motives are increasingly transparent. DEI considerations, diversity optics, and symbolic inclusion drive decisions rather than merit, service, or public benefit. The monarchy is presented as a stage for social progress rather than an institution anchored in continuity, tradition, and civic responsibility. Meghan, aware of the leverage her presence confers, appears willing to wield it selectively, focusing on validation, prestige, and title enhancement rather than public service. Meanwhile, Harry's desire to return to Britain is motivated by longing, nostalgia, and a sense of personal identity rather than strategic planning. The dynamic is volatile, the stakes high, and the potential fallout immense. Financial pressures compound the situation. The lavish lifestyle maintained by the couple, security, travel, real estate, staff, continues to consume the fortune they carried from royal life. With Netflix's deal waning, speaking fees unpredictable, and public attention fleeting, the cracks in the facade begin to show. Harry's choices, from Hollywood ventures to Canadian engagements, reflect both desperation and a search for relevance, while Meghan's pivot into curated motherhood branding demonstrates acute awareness of the market, but also the limits of influence without substance. Both are navigating a world where title and fame are not guarantees of success, and every move is scrutinized for authenticity, intention, and outcome. Interwoven with all this is the media storm, litigation, and public discourse that shapes perception and pressure. Harry's book, revealing sensitive details about his military service, security risks, and personal grievances, only amplifies scrutiny, fueling debates about entitlement, responsibility, and the role of monarchy in the modern age. The British public, royal commentators, and media analysts question the need for reintegration, the value of public support, and the prudence of allocating resources for figures whose connection to national duty is tenuous. Every news cycle underscores the contrast between the couple's ambitions and the expectations of the institutions they once belonged to, heightening suspense about potential outcomes, reputational costs, and public reception. At the heart of this unfolding drama is a clash of motivation, ambition, and identity. Harry seeks connection, recognition, and belonging, a return to a life he abandoned but secretly longs for. Meghan seeks influence, status, and validation, a leverage of royal association to amplify personal and professional goals. Government figures seek symbolic optics, diversity wins, and public narratives of reconciliation. Meanwhile, the monarchy must navigate tradition, public accountability, and the preservation of credibility in an increasingly complex and globalized media landscape. The convergence of these forces creates an environment charged with intrigue, uncertainty, and high stakes. Every decision, every public appearance, and every strategic pivot carries consequences that ripple across media, public perception, and royal legacy. The stakes extend beyond individual ambition. They touch on the very perception of the monarchy, the viability of public trust, and the role of legacy in shaping national identity. Project Thaw, the Hollywood ventures, the branding endeavors, and the public narrative about titles and privilege form a tapestry of tension, intrigue, and potential catastrophe. Harry and Meghan are simultaneously actors, symbols, and catalysts in a drama that blends personal desire with institutional consequence. Whether their actions ultimately restore, destabilize, or redefine the monarchy remains uncertain, but one fact is undeniable. The public, the media, and history are watching closely, and every misstep, every miscalculation will be magnified, debated, and remembered. As the weeks pass, the reality of Hollywood begins to bite. The shine of Netflix, once golden and seemingly endless, has dulled, leaving Harry and Meghan exposed to the unflinching light of public scrutiny. Each project, each appearance, each Instagram post or carefully curated photo feels like a test, a subtle gauge of relevance, influence, and impact. Netflix's Christmas special, meant to be a crowning achievement, now sits as a cautionary tale. Aesthetics cannot replace authenticity, titles cannot replace talent, and an audience can sense when a narrative is hollow. The awkward kiss captured in the trailer has become emblematic, replayed and dissected by viewers worldwide, a symbol of disconnect between intention and execution. Harry, seated with a bowl of food, tense and restrained, and Meghan, forcing performance over genuine affection, reflect the larger reality of their partnership, coasting on past prestige rather than present ability. The world watches, waiting for cracks to appear, and cracks indeed emerge. The Hollywood landscape, however, is unforgiving. Streaming platforms, social media algorithms, and audience attention are fickle, and Meghan's curated branding approach, warmth, motherhood, lifestyle aesthetics, faces relentless pressure. Photographs of her children, staged and selective, only highlight the gap between performance and lived experience. Reports of prolonged absences, reliance on staff, and international travel paint a portrait of a lifestyle designed for image rather than reality. Even her most carefully orchestrated moments, the ones meant to evoke connection and nostalgia, are scrutinized and often criticized, turning admiration into skepticism, applause into irony. Meanwhile, Harry's attempts to find relevance in speaking tours, Canadian conferences, and media engagements reflect both desire and desperation, a longing to belong, to matter, and to reclaim a sense of purpose in a world that no longer guarantees attention or influence. The contrast with Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, is stark and unavoidable. Catherine operates with strategy, purpose, and authenticity. Her public work resonates because it is informed by lived experience, personal involvement, and thoughtful execution. Meghan's aesthetic-driven approach, by contrast, is perceived as performative, hollow, and increasingly transparent. Every public appearance, every holiday campaign, every media interaction amplifies the difference. Catherine represents grounded influence. Meghan represents curated spectacle. Harry, caught between the two worlds, drifts ever closer to nostalgia and longing, yearning for the familiarity and connection of the life he left behind, yet tethered to a present increasingly defined by image over substance. Meanwhile, back in the UK, whispers of Project Thaw circulate within political and royal circles. Certain figures, driven by optics, diversity considerations, and symbolic inclusions, hope to reconcile Harry and Meghan with the monarchy. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, terms meant to represent fairness and justice, become the lens through which decisions are made rather than merit, service, or demonstrated value. Meghan's skin color, symbolic in these calculations, becomes a lever to advance political and cultural narratives, irrespective of her commitment, her understanding of the nation, or her alignment with public service. Insiders suggest that King Charles, aided by government figures and key establishment personalities, may be drawn into this strategy, navigating a delicate balance between family dynamics, public expectation, and institutional stability. Yet, the motives are increasingly transparent: validation, optics, and symbolism, rather than practical or personal benefit to the nation or the monarchy. Harry's willingness to re-engage with the monarchy is driven by a different calculus: nostalgia, identity, and a longing for connection. He yearns for his old life, a sense of purpose, and the validation that comes from recognition and familial integration. Meghan, however, remains motivated primarily by title, influence, and leverage. The divergence in their desires fuels tension, both personal and public, highlighting the fragility of their partnership under pressure. Meghan seeks prestige and recognition, not reconciliation. Harry seeks belonging and purpose, not performance. The misalignment exacerbates scrutiny, fuels speculation, and deepens the narrative of tension, misjudgment, and looming consequence. Financial pressure intensifies these dynamics. The couple's lifestyle, expensive residences, high security, constant travel, and an extensive support staff, continues to drain resources. With Netflix's major deal ended, speaking fees inconsistent, and public attention transient, the reality of sustainability sets in. Harry's choices, Canadian conferences, media tours, Hollywood ventures, reflect attempts to bridge the gap between expectation and reality, income and expenditure, relevance and perception. Meghan's pivot into lifestyle branding, motherhood aesthetics, and selective public appearances demonstrates both market awareness and strategic thinking, but also underscores the limits of influence without substance. Each decision, each project, each public interaction is both opportunity and risk, a gamble where miscalculation carries high stakes. The media, litigation, and public discourse further complicate the picture. Harry's book, in particular, exacerbates scrutiny, exposing personal history, controversial statements, and private grievances to public analysis. References to military service, security risks, and alleged indiscretions generate debate, fueling perceptions of entitlement and irresponsibility. The British public, commentators, and analysts question the rationale for reintegration, the value of public resources allocated to private individuals, and the prudence of symbolic gestures that may undermine institutional credibility. Every news cycle intensifies pressure, magnifies scrutiny, and elevates stakes, ensuring that missteps are not just observed, they are dissected, debated, and amplified. At the heart of this unfolding drama lies a complex clash of identity, ambition, and perception. Harry seeks connection, recognition, and a return to familiarity. Meghan seeks influence, validation, and leverage. Political actors seek optics, symbolism, and public narratives of reconciliation. The monarchy must safeguard tradition, public accountability, and credibility in an era of global media scrutiny. The intersection of these forces generates tension, intrigue, and potential catastrophe. Every choice, whether a public appearance, a branding initiative, or a calculated reconciliation, carries implications far beyond immediate perception. Misalignment, misjudgment, or overreach threatens not just personal reputation, but the stability and perception of the monarchy itself. Every move the couple makes is watched, analyzed, and interpreted. The stakes extend beyond personal ambition to questions of national identity, public trust, and the sustainability of the monarchy. Project Thaw, Hollywood ventures, branding efforts, and the politics of inclusion converge in a tableau of suspense, consequence, and high drama. Harry and Meghan are simultaneously actors, symbols, and catalysts in a narrative that blurs the line between personal ambition and institutional consequence. The unfolding events are a study in tension, ambition clashing with expectation, nostalgia confronting reality, and image colliding with substance. The outcome remains uncertain, yet one fact is inescapable. The world is watching, and every misstep, every overreach, and every miscalculation will be magnified, debated, and remembered.